I
this.
know, right? Yeah. Working on mint tea now.
My hat's off to you on the tea. You're always doing good tea.
It's like I do like a lot of coffee and then some tea and then more coffee and then decaf coffee and then end the day with tea as well. If I can just get one of these full of tea, then I feel like I'm doing good in my hydration.
Do you drink any water?
I do. I try at least. So oh, we're on. We're on Facebook. And everyone wants to know about my tea. I'm sure of this.
Hey, Bellator. This is Fran and Tracy. And today we're doing another tech check on our technology. We are playing with some of our different platforms, and we are looking to move some of our platform to the Twitch platform. And we're trying to figure out how to Facebook Live and Twitch Live all at the same time.
Hey, Trey, what's Twitch?
What's Twitch? So yeah. Twitch is a live interactive platform, and really a lot of gamers use it. Back in the day when my husband was a partial owner of an esport team, he became very familiar with Twitch. That's where gamers interact with each other. It's where they live stream their, gaming. And so a lot of guys and a lot of young guys know what Twitch is. But there's a little bit more of a movement to kind of bring conversations and different types of information and different live programming to Twitch. And so we are kind of at the forefront of that, actually. So
it's kind of exciting.
So as we're worried about our coffee and tea consumption,
have to keep that caffeine pumping through. Really, I mean, seriously, exactly. This is important stuff. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just dropped my notes. Hold on, just a second. This is all live.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So let's get started. What else? I love Twitch. I think Twitch is fantastic.
Do you have little loopy things on your glasses to keep it from falling? Oh, no.
No, these are, what are you talking about, Tracy? I always wear my loopy.
April Fools! This isn't me! This is me!
Good one.
No, yeah, that's good. This is usually what I wear. This is what Corona has done to me.
See, I thought, Matt, that you were making sure your glasses didn't fall off and you had like an old lady loop thingy. That is awesome. You even dressed alike.
We thought about this all morning long.
It was a thing. It was a thing. We've been waiting.
Oh my gosh, that kind of making me like sweat. It's so funny. Hey, hello. We're live on Twitch. Are we live on Facebook?
We're good on Facebook. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, y'all. Good morning, Bellator Society. If you don't do anything else today, you need to go and look at our video we just recorded. It's full of bloopers. It's full of mistakes. It's full of technical glitches. So we started, Fran and I are chit-chatting. We didn't realize we were live. Then we started, kind of talking serious about live. Didn't realize our volume wasn't working. And then Fran and Matt April Fool pranked me, which was hilarious. And now Fran's looking over her shoulder because every time I say I need to go do something, she's waiting on a big surprise.
You're going to get me. You're going to get me.
I know. But good morning, April Fool's Day. Happy 1st of April to you.
Happy 1st of April to you. I feel like we're all kind of fools right now.
I feel like a fool. Yeah.
This is a weird world. This is a really weird time that we're living in. And I think that everything just feels kind of like we're being pranked.
But we're not. This is real. This is our new normal, at least for a little bit. And so how do we do it and come out on the other side feeling good about the time that we spent all alone? Without any
all alone with all the people, though. I mean, I know there are some people who are all alone. I mean, all alone. But like my house is fuller than it usually is on any given day, which is, it's kind of nice. I kind of like it. And I mean, it's going to wear on me. I mean, we're now through the end of April, at least on social distancing orders. So, I mean, this might go into May. Some people are talking June. I just kind of hope Jesus comes before then.
We were talking about that at dinner. My eldest daughter was like, I think Jesus is coming at Easter. I said, why do you think that? Because everybody's saying it.
Yes.
Well, and we talked about the locust, plague in Africa. And I mean, it does feel a little surreal, but
A little end timesy.
yeah. I mean, it's very much.
There was, did we talk about Formed? I put it on our Facebook page that Formed is offering, I think like a 40-day free trial, or some people were saying they were only getting a 10-day trial. But in any case, you have the option now to subscribe to Formed and watch all of the content online. There's one that I recommended that's called Presence, which is just beautiful exposition on the Eucharist, where, the biblical context of the Eucharist, all of those things. But there's this one part, it's either in the second or the third episode of the series, Presence, where Mother Miriam, who, if you guys remember, she was, oh gosh, what was her name? Do you remember what her name was before she became a sister?
No.
Moss, was it Evelyn Moss? I can't remember. Anyway, Mother Miriam, she is this little Jewish woman. She grew up Jewish, and so she talks like a little Jewish woman, but she's a nun in like a full habit. She's adorable. And she was talking about living the Passover as a small child, going through year after year, celebrating the Passover with her family. And I didn't know this part, but there's a part in the Passover dinner where the youngest child goes out of the home or the house. She lived in an apartment building, so they would go out into the hall and look for the Messiah. And the child would go out and just see if the Messiah was there. And that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Like, I'm identifying with that in a new way, because I'm like, every time we have like a worldwide prayer together. Like,
good afternoon.
Have you ever
heard of 3 times the charm or 3rd times the charm? We're living that right now, and we hope that's actually true. So, okay, again, we're doing some technical work, as we have been actually for a few weeks now. We're trying to get our live stream to be live on Twitch while we're also live on Facebook. And the first time we didn't have audio, but we had a hilarious prank on me from Matt and Fran. And then the second time we had this weird like water sound and then like a bird chirp, and that was on both of our feeds. So that was weird. So our producer did some magic. He worked with magic a little bit, and now this is the 3rd time, and we're feeling good about it.
We're slaying. Really, we're just slaying this morning. That's what's happening. This is just going really well. And apparently everything that we've said prior to this isn't that important.
Right. And what this proves is we're not quitters.
No, we are not quitters. If anything is true, we are not quitters, because there's lots of reasons why we should have quit long ago.
But we're not gonna.
Nope, we're not. We are going to persevere. And again, we're going to wait for Jesus, because both of us agreed in our bird chirping second failed episode that it does feel a little bit end timesy right now, that we do feel like, I was sharing that, on the Formed app or on the Formed website, you have access, if you sign up now, to some free content that you ordinarily would not have. And there's a series called Presence about the Eucharist, the historical biblical context for the Eucharist. But there's one part in either the second or the third episode where Mother Miriam is talking about the Jewish Passover, because she grew up Jewish. And she's an adorable little Jewish woman telling stories. And she was saying that as part of the Passover dinner, it is traditional that like one of the young children go out of the home. She lived in an apartment building in New York, and would go out and look and see if the Messiah was there yet. And I mean, the way she tells the story, I mean, it's a very moving and it's beautiful, but I feel that way right now. Like, I feel like every time we have like the Pope is calling everybody together in prayer for the Urbi et Orbi, or anytime like come together and say an Our Father or whatever, I feel a little bit like, is this it?
He's gathering us because Jesus is about to make his entrance.
And you kind of want it. Like, you want it in a way that you didn't want it before, because I mean, everything was kind of nice. I mean, we all had our problems and have our problems. I mean, not that any of these have really gone away, but like, you reprioritize what's important, what's really bad, what's just uncomfortable. And I really am finding myself like looking for Jesus in this. And that's something that I hope everybody's doing in a new way.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm working on a piece for our blog for Divine Mercy Sunday, and I'm really thinking about that. Like, it takes me a while to write a piece. I have to think about it and kind of go over it in my head a little bit. And the one thing I think that's been on the tip of my tongue is have mercy on us, have mercy on Jesus, have mercy on them or on us or on the world or whatever it is. And, you know, what would be the most merciful thing than just for him to come back like stat.
Right. Or is this our mercy? You know, is this opportunity to repent? Because I do think a lot of people are turning back to him of their own volition, you know, like I mean, whether it's because of fear or anxiety or, you know, just conviction, I do feel like a lot of people are turning back to him, and that's merciful. Just being in this time of uncertainty and chaos and worry, when that pulls you back to God, that's God's mercy. That is, you know, him allowing us to repent, to actually turn back to him.
I think I saw somewhere recently that the Google searches for prayer have like skyrocketed. I mean, it's like the number one Google search right now. So that shows you that people are. In fact, it's not just us feeling that. Oh, just hit my microphone. It's not just us. I'm talking like an Italian. It's not just us feeling that. It's true. Like there's evidence to show that people are, that they want that relationship. They know how important it is. It's not important to many people if you don't need it, you know, but right now we need this prayer and we need this relationship and we need this closeness and we need mercy. And so I think people are, you know, and you got nothing else better to do at home. You can only watch so much Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only watch so many videos and follow, you know, so many different people on Instagram and whatever, but eventually the internet runs out and what's left is you and your maker, really.
And what happens when the internet does run out? Have you thought about that? Like we so quickly turned to, you know, from all of the other buffering that we were doing in our lives exterior to our homes to buffering inside our homes using the internet. And I have thought so many times of what if that just shuts down? Then what? You know?
We have found that the internet is running a lot slower. Facebook is running a lot slower because everything's being streamed right now. You know, movies that were coming out are coming out, you know, sooner or whatever the case may be. I think they released Frozen 2 months earlier because they knew a lot of small kids would be in their house and mom and dad would need something to, you know, entertain them with. So things like that. So, I mean, I think from the business people who are now having to do all their meetings online, schools that are doing all their classes online, and then just entertaining yourself. I think we are seeing the internet not quite up to its capability that, you know, we're so used to it, which by the way, I have a very, very important point on that score. If anyone out in Bellator, Facebook, Twitch land has a secret or a tip for the Sam's Club click list app, I do think so many people are using it that it's just not working. I've never used it. I like to go, I like to pick my chicken. I like to pick my apples. And so now I'm trying to be smart, do it online, and then you go and you get a text and they bring your food out to you or whatever, and you pay online. So it's just less interaction. Seems like a smart thing to do, but I cannot, I get the wheelie thing and then it empties my cart and then it will reload my cart, but I can't figure it out. So I need some help.
It's super glitchy.
It is glitchy, but I think it's because so many people are using it.
Well, I've never used, I can't help you because I've never used any sort of grocery app. I've said that it would be a good idea even before we went on social distance order, shelter in place, safer at home stuff. Matt and I were talking, I think on a Corona, like a Catholic one, like we should try that just to make sure we know how to do it. But we never did because you see, we don't even follow our own advice. But I did for the very first time, day before yesterday, do a craft store click list.
Which is more important really than.
Because we needed chalk and paint here. We needed it.
Baby boy needed some activities.
Oh, he did. And it worked. So it worked fine. So it probably is just a platformy thing maybe with the grocery stores because so many people are doing them.
So many people. Yeah. I mean, I think if anybody can do something well, it's probably a corporation like Sam's, but I think it's crashing,
Yeah.
they're just not used to that many people at once every single day needing it.
All things are new, which is our theme for April. All things new is our series theme on the blog. We're going to be talking about it on these live streams on Wednesdays. We're going to be talking about it on our podcast on Fridays. The theme, and we picked this theme last year, like before the new year, y'all. We actually had a planning meeting where we picked what our themes would be for every single month. And April was all things new, and we didn't really know what that meant. But God knew what that would mean. He did. And, several of our contributors wrote their blogs, again, way prior to, this happening. And it struck me as I was kind of reading through them as we were doing editing, like how fitting they are. How fitting they are to this time and this circumstance. And just with a little bitty tweak, they were just so pertinent and perfect. And I really am excited about that content that we're going to be offering this month as well. But one thing that I did want to mention is coming up on Friday, we have a beautiful blog post by Jason Pohlmeyer, which I think that we should talk a little bit about that. So the boys are back in town, or actually they're newly in town.
We welcome them in. So we've had guest contributors of the male species this whole time, really. But when we started Bellator Society, it was not intentional that all of our contributors were female. It just happened to be that those are our friends.
Yeah. Those are the people who said yes to us and who we knew would say yes to us. Yeah.
Quickly. Yeah. So we could start getting some content put together. But we always wanted it to be a lifestyle brand, and you can't have a lifestyle brand with only the feminine, So we've always wanted it to be men, women, families, singles, young, older. It wasn't just a female, young female mom thing. And so this month we're rolling out all the men who have agreed to join us. And so it's going to be really fun. So if you don't read the blogs, start going to them, because you're going to see a little bit of a different perspective from some of our contributors. And also, if you don't follow us on Twitter, you're missing out.
So good. So good. We have a new Twitter guy. Okay. So if you follow Bellator Society on Twitter, it's usually not Tracy or me. It's now someone who we love, who is a boy who is so good at Twitter. Like, he's a Twitter genius. It might be sorcery. I don't know, but he's so good on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, you need to follow Bellator Society, because Tyler is just doing a bang up job for us there.
Yeah. He's awesome. Okay. So back to April newness.
Okay. Take 192.
Now I know how movie stars feel. You're like, why does this one scene take 12 hours?
Yeah.
In our case, it's because technical difficulties.
So many, and many of them aren't even like our problem. Like, that, everybody is trying to do this. Like, people who actually like are doing broadcast for, decades are trying to figure out how to do what we're trying to figure out how to do. Right. And so everybody's like flooding all of the platforms. Everything's running just a little slow. I think we're on now.
I think we're on, and I think our sound. So we've had sound issues. We've had no sound, light sound, random bird sounds.
We had a bird sound.
So we don't know what's going on. But like we said earlier, third time's a charm. Apparently we blew that out of the water. That was a lie. We hear fourth time's like, it's a good one. And then also, I forget what I was going to say. So third time's not the charm, fourth time's the charm. And we just installed new software, kind of our fourth software probably that we've played with. And we think this is going to be the winner.
I hope it's the winner.
That's what we're telling ourselves.
It's going to be real good. Okay. So we actually have recorded all of our previous conversations that most people didn't even hear. So we're going to see if we can package that all up into a video so that everybody can see all of our failure. We really just want to be vulnerable and show you where it all went wrong.
There are no airs about us.
No, there are no airs here. We are not putting on anything except for maybe a live stream. It looks like we might be putting on a live stream right now. But we were talking in, I think our last recording live stream that failed, about what we're doing new on Bellator, because we are doing all things new. And that's our theme for the month of April. But additionally, it's what we're doing like in actuality with Bellator, because we are still Bellator Society.
Yes.
But we're kind of we're blowing it up into a Catholic media company. And so Bellator Society will continue to exist, but our umbrella or our parent is Bellator Catholic Media. And as part of that, we're also trying to expand our branding in the direction that we had always intended, which was to be very, we wanted it to be very dynamic in terms of diversity of people who were involved, people who were contributing. We began, as Tracy said in our recording, if you go back and listen to the recording, she explained very succinctly and very well, actually, very clearly. You couldn't hear it, but I could. That we started with a bunch of women because those were our friends, and that's who we knew were going to be wonderful contributors, and we knew that they were quality. And so we were like, we come on board. Everybody said yes. And that's where we started, but we never wanted to be a women's only media ministry at all. Like that was never a part of our trajectory. And so we're just sort of realigning with what had always been our goal. And we are indeed making all things new because we have a new batch of boys this month.
And they not only are they contributing, but they're stepping up to the plate. They're submitting their articles promptly, and they're jumping on podcasts for us, and they're jumping on Twitter. We talked earlier about we have a new Twitter sort of manager, and
you can call him Master, Twitter Master.
He is the Twitter master magician. We don't know what he does, but somehow our Twitter following has did you say 14-fold?
I think 14-fold in just the last few weeks that he has taken over for us. So
he's our guy. So you're going to definitely see some different perspectives, some different influences. It's all going to still be very Catholic. It's going to all, we're not swaying or we're not pulling away from the magisterium but there is going to be a little bit, of diversity, which I think is a good thing.
It's not just the Tracy and Fran show anymore.
No.
And we're excited about that because there's so much fantastic content out there for us to share. And again, just as you said, the guys are doing a great job. Their blogs this month are primo. And the one that I would like to specifically talk about right now is coming up on Friday, which is by Jason Pohlmeyer. Yes. He is the husband of one of our contributors, Aaron Pohlmeyer, and he wrote a fantastic blog about just trying new things. And one of the new things that he intended to try out and in fact completed was something new and creative that he had never done before. And that was composing or authoring a Stations of the Cross. And so he actually allowed us to use that piece, that Stations of the Cross, and turn into an e-publication and then we are going to offer to all of our subscribers for free. So this is a beautiful reflection on the passion, death, and crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. And, those of us who are Catholic have the Stations of the Cross usually on Fridays throughout Lent. It's one of our liturgical observances. And we can't do that right now.
Right.
So we're all kind of in the same spot where we're looking for ways to do the normal in not normal ways. And so we're just going to offer free to everybody this e-publication of a beautiful reflection on the Stations of the Cross that Jason did for us. So if you're not already a subscriber, subscribe at BellatorSociety.com. All you have to do is go to contact, or at the bottom, I think of almost every page, there's a little subscribe field where you can put in your email address and you'll receive a welcome email, and that will include Jason's e-publication. But if you're already a subscriber, you should have already received an email including that link for the e-publication. And if you didn't get it, it may have gone to your trash, so you might check out that. And if it's not there, just email us and we'll make sure that you get it.
Absolutely. So just to back up a little bit, because we do have people who follow us and who watch us who are not Catholic. And so maybe to dive in a little bit more about Stations of the Cross, as you said, on Fridays during Lent, all parishes will offer Stations of the Cross. And in a lot of Catholic churches, you'll see they're kind of like plaques or paintings or whatever around the church. And it kind of takes you through the very beginning of like Jesus's passion all the way through his death. And there's a little prayer and a little scripture, and we kind of just walk through it. And we've been to the Archbishop's residence in Colorado. We had dinner with Archbishop Aquila, and they have, and a lot of places have this, but it was really cool. They had Stations of the Cross outside, like sculptures on their property. And so we got to walk through them and do the stations, and he led us through the Stations of the Cross that way. And that was really cool. But because we are social distancing, we can't go, our churches are closed. We're trying to stay away from each other. Jason's authored this so that you can do it just with your family. Yeah. And he actually took the photos, right?
He did.
Of the stations. So there's a photo that goes with each one of, his stations, and they're actually would be the proper, photo or the proper piece of art or sculpture or whatever you'd be looking at. And so you can do this just in your domestic church, which I'm so excited. We're going to do it this weekend on Friday with our family. So this is taking the church to another level.
Absolutely. And I think what's another important point is that Jason is an educator, and he wrote this in collaboration with his 8th grade class, I think 2 years ago. So it's written accessibly, like, you can do it with your family. It's not, some sort of lofty reflection that is only for mystics. Like this is written so that it's accessible and it's beautiful and it's useful to each of us, especially at this time. And so thank you so much to Jason. And I do want to say this. The Pohlmeyers are kind of like a superstar family because there's Aaron, who has been a longtime contributor on Bellator. There's Jason now, who is our new contributor. There's Father Eric Pohlmeyer, who is just like a priest extraordinaire. I mean, he's so fantastic. He's a friend of ours, and I love him dearly. He's wonderful. But then there's Rebecca Pohlmeyer, who's their niece, who I don't know if anybody's familiar with her Etsy site. It's I think it's like Glory Be Prince on Etsy, but she has a new book called Glory Be, I think, A to Z Saints, where every single letter of the alphabet is a little saint, and it's a board book of sorts for kids. Great. If it's available, buy it. It is Easter basket worthy. And then there's, the Pohlmeyer parents, the matriarch and the patriarch, who make the best hamburgers I've ever had in my entire life. So basically, if tomorrow you log on to Bellator Society and you only see Pohlmeyers, we kind of expected this. They might be for a takeover.
Jason's dad is also a deacon in the Diocese of Arkansas or Little Rock. So that's hilarious. So yes, look at this. You don't have to be Catholic to do the Stations of the Cross. It's biblical. It takes you through the, just Jesus's passion.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because, my husband's family is not Catholic. And when we lived in the same city where all of them lived, we lived really, really close to our church. And nearby was my husband's grandmother. And I remember I think we lived there for 2 years at the same time. On both of those Good Fridays, I invited her to come with me to my Catholic church to go to the Stations of the Cross. And she was not necessarily I didn't know that she was Catholic unfriendly, but she wasn't necessarily familiar with Catholicism. But every year she accepted, and I would go pick her up, and she'd come with me to Stations of the Cross. And she was always very complimentary of the Stations of the Cross because it's just well done. I mean, it's a reflection on the passion of Christ and what he did for us. And that's what we should be focusing on, especially on Good Friday. But as Catholics, again, liturgically, we focus on that every Friday during Lent. And again, Jason, starting this Friday, you can start using his stations and then do it again on Good Friday. And it's such a gift. It's so wonderful. Thank you, Jason.
It is wonderful. So speaking of things that are changing and we're having to adapt, did you see, I've talked about the movie Fatima, and it was supposed to be coming out in April.
Yeah.
And I kind of panicked because we wanted to do these fun
watch parties.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about that and getting a box of tickets. It looks like they have bumped the premiere date to late August, I think August 24th.
Okay.
So if you were interested in that, we're not doing them. We're just, the
deferred.
The premieres deferred. It's been postponed. So we're going to postpone that. So don't forget. And if you have not, if you've not joined our Facebook
gathering
group, the gathering group,
yeah,
please do that, because that's where we're going to talk about fun things like that. So if you're interested in Fatima, go there. We'll start that conversation in the coming weeks.
So again, a little bit clarification. We still have our Facebook page. Bellator Society's Facebook page is still online. All of our videos, all of our content are posted to there daily. But we also have a gathering group, which is by permission only. We have like 3 little questions you have to answer to be accepted. If we don't already know you, I mean, if we know you, you'll be accepted. But if we've not met in person, we just want to know that you're a real person and that you have a real, invested interest in joining this group and that you're not a weirdo troll. So.
Because we have some of those now.
We do have some of those, indeed. And that's kind of an interesting thing. So, our video that we did last week with Father Andrew Hart, gangbusters. Like, it has been watched so many times. We've had so many good and fruitful conversations because of it. But we've also had some people who are not necessarily happy with what we're talking about make comments on our Facebook page about it. And so we've been trying to interact with them just to be charitable and share, our faith as best we can. But if you, Bellator Society, would like to join in any of those conversations, we would love for you to join in. We do want to keep it very kind and charitable. But, this is a great opportunity for us to share our faith, and we just want to invite you to join us there as well.
Well, and when we talked to Father Leo last week, that's exactly what he said. You can't you can't share your faith only with people who share your faith.
Right. Yeah.
You have to be able to talk, and you have to be able to talk to people that don't agree with you, and you have to figure out how to have good dialogue, good productive conversation outside of your small little bubble, because that's what Jesus did. Yeah. And if we are to be disciples of Jesus, we have to go outside of our comfort zone and talk to people, interact with people. We can't end every conversation in ugly, delete, unfriend, unfollow, block, whatever. Yeah. And he said, I've only blocked maybe, I don't know. I think he said less than a handful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said, I've got thousands of followers. And he said, I'm not afraid of people who disagree with me. Now, if you're going to be vile and gross, there's no room for that. And we totally agree. And that's our philosophy too. But if you just disagree and you want to criticize what we're saying, then bring it on. We're happy to have that conversation.
Let's talk about that. Absolutely. Yeah. You can't evangelize the ends of the world if you're not talking to the world. So that's actually what we're trying to do here. And additionally, that's what we're trying to do in terms of adding on a new platform. So part of today's technical logistic nightmare, we can say it's a nightmare at this point, I think. Because we've now awakened from the nightmare. We know that this is real life. Was that we're adding on a new platform called Twitch. And Tracy explained in one of our previous recordings, we hope it was explained well. Yeah, video. Was that video too?
I think so.
What Twitch is, and it's basically a platform that originated for gamers to be able to communicate while they're playing their games. I don't really know the right words to say when I'm talking about gaming, but it's a platform that is really not used widely by Christian ministries. I mean, there are people who are doing some lifestyle things, like let me show you how to do my hair or put on some makeup or make a project maybe, but there are not a lot of people using it for evangelism. And so we are sort of one of the first, really. That's kind of exciting to be one of the first, but that also comes with a lot of pioneering and bushwhacking.
A lot of trial and error, and in our case, more air. Lots of air.
Errors this morning. But we are on Twitch now. So if you aren't familiar with Twitch, I want to encourage you to download the app. It is an app. It's kind of like a YouTube app or any of those apps that you might have on your phone for social media. You can download the Twitch app. You can subscribe to the Bellator Society channel, and then you will get live streaming from anything we do on Bellator Society. And that's also what I want to say. Like, part of our game plan, letting everybody in on the plan here. Part of our game plan is that it's not always just going to be us. There's going to be other content, other people who are talking about things and doing a fantastic job of it as well. And so if you go to Twitch and you come to either we're running live on Facebook, and many of these recordings will be going on YouTube as well. Those are all different ways that you'll be able to see whatever content that we're putting out in this format.
Right. And if you can't catch us live, As you just said, it'll be on YouTube. But if you want to interact with us, which we would love to have that's really what we're hoping for, that we can have a dialogue, not just with each other, not just with the person we're interviewing, but we want interactivity, which is why we're really focusing on Twitch. Facebook gives us some of that, but Twitch really is geared towards interaction, real-time interaction. So please jump on one of those platforms, whichever one you're more comfortable with, and interact with us. Talk to us, ask us questions, give us suggestions. Obviously, we always want to keep it civil, but we're not afraid to dialogue with people that disagree with us.
Yep, absolutely. To that end, if you have anything to say about anything that we've talked about today, you can still comment. Even if you're not doing it in real time, you can even comment, and then we can respond to you after the fact. So please do not let the fact that you are watching this as a recording, if indeed you are, prohibit you from making any sort of comments or questions, because we will respond.
Totally. Okay, moving to, I want to give a T-shirt update, because I feel like this is becoming, it's becoming comical. So the T-shirt update is that I think they've been shipped to me. They are done. They were going to be shipped. Then something happened and they weren't shipped. I think they were supposed to be shipped yesterday. I have not gotten another, postponement notice or anything like that. So I assume they're in the mail. Our contact, she has a couple, I think, family members who were missionaries and who were stuck. One was in Asia and one was maybe in another part of the world. And so they finally got home, but now their whole family is in quarantine. Because of the life, the times that we're living in. So usually when I have a delivery, I just can meet her, in the Target parking lot, pick up our T-shirts, but now it's a little bit more complicated. So those should be here any day. And as soon as they get here, we will unveil them to you. I can't wait to see them. I know. We're excited about them. I think they're going to be great. What else?
All right. Well, I mean, I could talk about my corona pimple. Because as I was saying earlier, not recorded, like I feel like we're all living new lives, and there's always something that, it's not that I don't get acne, people. I do get it. But like I don't know if it's stress or by virtue of me not trying to touch my face, I'm touching my face more. I don't know. But the more people I have pointed to my corona pimple too, they've like, I get that. I got that too. I have one too. So again, I just want to create community and say solidarity.
Right. Well, we were talking about how much this is the cleanest my hands have ever been. I mean, I clean them 24/7. However, my hands are so dry. They're cracking. So if you have this problem, let me tell you, people, you need our hand bars, our Bellator lotion bars. We have 3 scents: garland of roses, balsam bar, which is kind of the chrism scent that we use for baptisms and different kind of liturgical, sacramental type blessings and stuff. And then we have the orange chrismet, which was our Christmas scent. It's so fresh. Clean. It's very fresh with the orange, but then the mint really gives it the citrus and the mint. It's a good combination.
And the chrism. It's chrismint. So it's orange, chrism, and mint. It's so good. It's so good.
Thank you. So use it on your hands. You can get that on the Bellator merch page. If you go to our website, it's on our shop page. And then we also have some chapstick to go with it. So if you're like me and your hands are dry and you're not wearing a lot of makeup, but you need some chapstick, check us out.
There, it's all there. All right. Well, do we have anything else? Again, we're going to podcast. So we still will have a podcast coming out on Friday. It'll be a little surprise for you, but do we have anything else that we want to say? We could do last little bits here too.
I think we're good. I do want to check in on the Yeager family. As we discussed many times, your husband is an ER physician, and so he's been working a lot. Are y'all doing okay?
Oh, we're doing fine. Yeah, we're doing fine. We're taking precautions, doing the best we can. That's all anybody can do. So yeah, thank you. Just pray for him. Pray for all of medical staffs in hospitals, doctors, nurses, techs. I mean, all of the people even environmental services. All of these people are working so hard to create a place where when it hits, there will be a place for people to go. And that's what we've been working on for a couple of weeks now, is flattening the curve so that when people do start getting very, very sick, that there's a place for them. And so it's kind of the calm before the storm right now, I think, still here at least. I know New York is getting it very badly right now, but we're still kind of waiting for the wave to hit the shore.
And if you didn't watch video 1, you will see that the good doctor, who is clearly in good spirits, and his wife pranked me.
But really, the joke was on us, wasn't it?
There was no sound, which is hilarious. But if you've missed seeing Dr. Matt and Fran, because they've done several Facebook Lives together, and those were very well received. If you missed seeing them together, check out video 1 of 4 from today, and
Or John might be able to stitch him and make him just one. I don't know.
Right.
We don't know. We don't know what he can do. He's done amazing things this morning, just with getting us up online amidst so many complications and the improbability that this would ever work.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna hop off and we're gonna do our podcast. And so for the rest of this story, go to our podcast on Friday. It'll be released, and hear the surprise that we've got in store for you.
Oh, I do want to say one more thing, coronavirus related. If everybody who is watching this would right this very second say a prayer for my eldest goddaughter. She is expecting her 3rd baby anytime, and has been told that she has to go into the hospital by herself to have this baby. Her husband cannot go. And this is what women all over our country, if not our world, are experiencing right now for the first time, really. I mean, in decades. I mean, it used to be that you couldn't have someone, your husband in the room when you had a baby, but that's not what we do, right?
No.
I mean, and that's kind of it's daunting and it's scary, but I just want these women to be so empowered by their capability, by the awesomeness in which God has created them to bring forth life, even in these difficult times. And we need to start thinking of ways also that we can support these new mamas, because the tribe, the village that ordinarily surrounds women when they have babies to bring a casserole, to hold your baby for a second so you can take a shower. They don't have that. They're not going to have that for some time. And so it would be so awesome if, number one, we could all pray together in solidarity for these mamas and their babies, but also think of creative ways in order to support them during this time. And if you think of something awesome, will you comment so that we know what to do? Because that would be so helpful for us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. We will pray for her. Never mind. I was going to ask her name, but I want to ask her name. Fran's eldest goddaughter is how we'll leave that.
Yes,
all right.
Please. All righty.
Thank you, Fran.
Bye,
Talk
y'all.
to you in a little bit. Bye.
Talk to you later. Bye.